creativity,
ideas,
innovation,
change,
leadership,
development,
youth in entrepreneurship. Only on
Radio REEYAZ 96.8 MHz.
Good evening and namaste. Welcome to a brand new episode of Youth in Entrepreneurship Season 3. This program is presented by Radio REEYAZ 96.8 MHz in collaboration with UTSAH Nepal. You are listening to Youth in Entrepreneurship every Sunday 5 to 6 p.m. I am Medha, your radio host. The concept director for this program is Abhilasha Rayamajhi. Youth in Entrepreneurship is a radio talk show where we interview and share stories of entrepreneurs and attempt to understand the current scenario of entrepreneurial business in Nepal. The main objective of this show is to promote innovative ideas of our younger generation. Our first guest for this season is Mr. Amun Thapa. He is the CEO of Sasto, which is Nepal's leading e-commerce company by sales volume and customer base, and the co-founder of Sasto Book, which is Nepal's first and leading online platform for buying and selling of books. So let us welcome Mr. Amun Thapa.
Thank you, Medha. Thank you for the invitation. And I just came to know it's your first show of the new season, so wish you guys all the very best.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm good. You?
I'm good. So what do you have to say about the current scenario of entrepreneurship in Nepal?
Well, I mean, I've been here since for the past 4 years after my studies in the US, and initially it was, nobody was interested in entrepreneurship, but in the recent years, I would say 2014 but what I've witnessed is there's a lot of people who are interested in entrepreneurship. I say this because I go to a lot of colleges for guest lectures, and whenever I ask how many of you want to become an entrepreneur, almost the entire class they raise their hands, which is very good to see.
And why did you think of doing online business?
Well, in particular, me and my team, we run several other ventures. We don't start a business to make money. We start a business to solve problems. So whenever we see there is a lot of problems and there are no solutions, we become very interested in starting a business. That is mainly to solve the problem. So online business, when it had to do with the same thing, we personally had to face a lot of problems while shopping offline. And we say it to ourselves, if there is a solution, and the answer was no. Can we create a solution? The answer was yes, and that's how we started this online business.
So what is the major objective of Sasto Deal?
Sasto Deal in particular, it serves two purposes. We've got two clients. एउटा चाहिँ vendors भन्छ, which are the merchants, businesses हैन. नेपालमा के भइरहेको छ नि, a lot of industry, it's in a saturation point. If you see the travel industry, the clothing industry, अब एउटा t-shirt किन्नु पर्यो भने like हजारवटा पसल छ हैन. So competition is very intense. Whereas उनीहरुले अब advertisement दिन marketing गर्न channels हरु पनि छैन, TV and radio and magazines are very expensive हैन. Not everyone can afford it. Whereas the other side मा हाम्रो अर्को client भनेको customers हरु. Customers के भइरहेको छ, 9 to 6 एकदमै busy छ. एक दिन Saturday off हुन्छ, Saturday पनि shopping जानु पर्छ हैन. So Saturday धेरै जस्तो पसल अझै बन्द हुन्छ हैन. So we saw a huge gap between consumers and the vendors. So Sasto Dealको main purpose भनेको चाहिँ नि त्यो दुईटाको bridge बनिदिनु, to connect the vendors to the customers.
And how does it follow its objectives?
So objectives मा चाहिँ mainly चाहिँ about the name itself, it's Sasto Deal हैन. So we have to, we try to offer the prices, offer the products at the lowest possible price. Second, we provide home delivery services. Most of the time it's for free. So convenience for price, that's the main objectives of Sasto Deal.
What are your future plans and visions for Sasto Deal?
Not just for Sasto Deal, but what we do as an industry leader is Nepalma Freshma, it's very important to create an industry. Right? So we not only run this business as a company, but we run this business as an industry. So you industry like next level ma or Nepalko one of the leading industry ne kasari banaउने, that's been our intention. But if we look at our neighboring countries like India and China, e-commerce is the number one industry, or it's on the top. Even if we look at TV ma advertisement case Flipkart, Snapdeal, it's e-commerce everywhere in the US, in China, in India, everywhere. E-commerce has to take the lead. The Nepal ma it's way behind. In fact, your इन्फेन्सी स्टेजमा छैन. So for us as one of the leaders in this industry, it's our responsibility to take this industry to the next level, and that's our future plans.
So, sir, do you face any hardships or challenges in your way?
Of course, I mean, कसको वेमा हुँदैन challengesहरू हैन. So there are challenges and struggles everywhere, but it's how you tackle them. I like challenges. That's one of the reasons why we start businesses, हैन, because it's challengeful. When people, especially when people tell me you cannot do this, and then I find it pleasurable to prove them wrong. In our industry, especially in a startup industry, like any company that we start, the basic ones, and the capital, the team, the resources, and Nepalमा कस्तो पनि हुन्छ, it's a very social culture छ नेपाल हैन. Challenges भनेको business मा त हुँदैन के, social challengesहरू पनि हुन्छ. You have to prove your family first. You have to go against their will, हुन्छ नि. So त्यस्तो challengesहरू पनि obviously छ.
And how do you overcome those difficulties and challenges?
Well, I'm a very stubborn and arrogant kind of guy, which is not, I wouldn't say it's wrong. I do not actually listen to other people. I listen to people, but at the end of the day, I know it's my decision. So nobody can influence my decision, so it doesn't matter what people have to say about me.
Not only the founder of Sasto deal, you are involved in other ventures as well. So how do you manage your time?
Well, this article in Himal Times quoted me as an entrepreneurial juggler, like someone who juggles between businesses. But truth be told, I have a really good team. हाम्रो चाहिँ के छ, हामी 4-5 जना छ, अनि एकजनाले चाहिँ एउटा business lead गर्छ कि. Although in our portfolio we have got so many other startups, so many other businesses, but I for one take lead at Sasto deal, हैन. मेरो अर्को साथी छ सुरज भने, he takes lead at Anthropos भन्ने business, हैन. त्यस्तै गरी हामी we divide our roles, and that's how we work as a team.
Are you able to give enough time to your work, family, as well as other relatives?
I recently got married, it's been a few months, so that's been a huge change for good. Obviously, as a workaholic, and I used to work all the time. But now I've been trying to balance work and life, and it's been another challenge, but it's fun.
Congratulations, sir, for your newly married life.
Thank you, Medha.
So, can I ask you one question? Was it love marriage or arranged?
I'd say it was a love marriage. I met her during one of my lectures. She used to teach at Silver Mountain Business School. So I met her for the first time and I fell in love.
Does she support you in your business?
Oh, that's a very good question. In fact, yeah, of course, I've radio मा त भन्नै पर्यो हैन, she'd listen to me. But truth be told, yes, she does, especially अब पहिला चाहिँ नि, as an entrepreneur, you have to make big decisions or bold decisions, हैन. You're always thinking. So now that I have a life partner, I can always consult with her, हुन्छ नि. अब whenever I go home, I tell her whatever happened during the day, and त्यसपछि she tells her story, and we decide, we discuss, and in details, and she gives me a lot of good advices, and she's a thinker पनि, हैन. So I mean, उसको perspective बाट सुन्दाखेरि, मेरो perspective सुन्दाखेरि, and that's how I tend to make better decisions these days, and so it's obviously she's been very supportive.
As you said earlier, it's been a challenge for you to manage your time. So how do you overcome this?
I'll share something with you, For me personally, I follow my timeline very well, I always had this plan, 30 years pugeपछि I'll get married, because I always thought marriage would be an interruption, but turns out wrong. I'm a workaholic. I work 16-18 hours a day sometimes, and I don't even sleep. त्यस्तो थियो my lifestyle, and I used to survive on noodles and all that. But all of a sudden now things have changed. I go to bed early, I wake up early, I have a strict discipline in what I eat and when I read and when I go to work, and all that. And then Aishi, my wife, and this has got a huge role to play, and I think it's for better. Okay, अब पहिला my life was going haywire. के भइरहेको थियो नि बुझिरहेको थिएन आफूले, I was just following whatever was going on. Now it's more disciplined, that way now I can see whatever the challenges are coming up in my life years down the path, and I can plan them accordingly with the help of my wife. So it's been I'd say the contribution has been immense in my life.
So she's helping you to get healthy and happy life.
In the past 1 month alone, I've gained almost 5 kgs, so obviously she's keeping me very healthy and disciplined.
In your opinion, what is the scope for young entrepreneurs in a developing country like Nepal?
People have a mixed debate about Nepal's scope छ कि छैन, and should people even travel abroad. We find a lot of youths traveling abroad, and a lot of times कस्तो मान्छेहरूले कसरी ट्रिट गर्छ भन्दाखेरि I mean देशद्रोहीको जस्तो हुन्छ नि, yeah, you're leaving the country, you're not working for your country, oh my, you don't even care about your country, त्यस्तो खालको opinionsहरू हुने रहेछ यहाँ, So for me, someone who's been abroad and who's come back, what I really feel is people should travel, number one, because experience is everything, exposure is everything, you know. For me, if I have not stayed in the US, I would probably not have that culture or the mindset to introduce an entirely new culture in Nepal, you know. So people, yes, should travel abroad if they have the luxury to do it. B ma Nepal ma fir ta aunu parcha because there is huge scope in each and every industry. Kinabhane एउटा के छ भन्दाखेरि इन्डस्ट्री त छ तर एउटा बार एउटा लेभल हुन्छ नि एउटा स्ट्यान्डर्ड हुन्छ नि त्यो फर द पास्ट 50 years त्यही छ कि नेपालमा इन इन्डस्ट्री अब अहिले आएर वी आर सीइङ चेन्जेस इन द फिल्म इन्डस्ट्री हुन्छ नि टिभी इन्डस्ट्रीमा लाइक विथ मुभिज लाइक लुट अनि के नेप्लिज मुभिजहरु छ नि दे हैव रेज्ड द बार एट लिस्ट इन टर्म्स अफ एक्टिङ एट लिस्ट इन टर्म्स अफ क्वालिटी फर अस हुन्छ नि वी हैव रेज्ड द बार इन टर्म्स अफ शपिङ एन्ड ई-कमर्स हैन त बिस्तारै एभ्री इन्डस्ट्रीको बार रेज भइरहेछ अनि हु डज दैट युथ्सहरु हु डज दैट पीपल विथ प्यासन एन्ड हु डज दैट पीपल हु हैव who's been exposed to other cultures. So yes, people should travel, B, people should come back, and definitely we've got a huge scope in almost every industry in Nepal.
What are the flaws and challenges that young entrepreneurs should work on?
First, my mindset. It's all about attitude. It's all about confidence. You know? A lot of times when I go to colleges and when I ask how many of you want to become an entrepreneur, and sabai class ko sabai janaले hand raise garcha हैन अनि how many of you are starting a business भन्दा non hand raise किन भन्दाखेरि mindset के छ नि नेपालमा college students हरु they should not even start a business त्यो कुरा चाहिँ family बाट आउँछ कि हैन family ले के भन्छ तिमी पढ्न गएको पढ मात्र हैन so त्यो your entire attitude and mindset नै change हुन्छ first मा हाम्रो college students हरुमा second मा business गर्नु छ भने you have to be a risk taker and confident हुनै पर्छ. If you don't have confidence in yourself, how can you generate that confidence in the market or in other people? You know? So, आफू नै confident हुनुपर्ने एकदमै necessary छ.
What is your experience regarding young women in entrepreneurship and workforce?
It's a very good question, Medha. What we're seeing is there's a lot of topic being discussed on women and entrepreneurship. You know? People want to see women in the leading positions inside an office. People want to see women become entrepreneurs, you know? But to be very honest, that's just a thought. There are practicality ma aike chhane yo kura. Just one example, you know, what I've noticed in business is all about networking, right? And Nepal and even India, we are male-dominated countries, you know. And what happens is usually all this network that we build, it happens after office hours. Usually 6 baje, 7 baje, 8 baje, 9 baje. It's in yakineti your conference and all this come at 9 p.m. So that's how we build connection. Now, if we really want to see women in entrepreneurship, do you think any parents are going to send their daughters to such events that's going to last to 10 p.m., 11 p.m. at night? No, because we live in such a society that women who roam around at night are treated in a very different way. No? So that's a very bad thing. Until a lot of women entrepreneurs or wannabe women entrepreneurs have a huge disadvantage because they cannot network after office hours. You know? So this is something which is a social issue rather than women issue, because women in general, they are literate, they're smart, they're responsible, they're very intelligent. So you not just entrepreneur बन्ने dream successful हुँदैन, or just because त्यो गर्दाखेरि उनीहरुको आफ्नो office भित्र पनि they cannot climb the ladders because they're not networking, you know. So that's a huge concern for the society.
So do you give opportunities to young women?
I do not look at this way, like quota system जसरी I do not look at it that way. Whenever there is a resume that comes to my desk, I look at it in terms of experience and roles and responsibilities. There's absolutely going to be no favor, either be it women or of a certain age or men. But what I personally feel is women are more responsible. That's been my experience. So as managers, or if I have to hire someone in the management areas, then I definitely look out for women because they're more responsible. And also, in my mom's office, it's almost entirely women-led office. Then what I've seen is Nepal about different age group, different norms and culture, groupism. So smaller things like that, I don't think that's going to reflect in our generation women because we've lived and grew in a co-ed school and all that, but in my particular office, and it will not have that problem. But in fact, the other way around, women have always been more responsible, more hardworking, more driven. Just that again, मैले उठाएको जुन concern थियो, like after office hours, the networking and the business, because business भनेको, it's not going to be just inside an office, isn't it? Even while drinking beer in a pub, you're still talking about ideas and business in a different scenario, no? You're networking on all that. So this much women do have a disadvantage, and whenever we're hiring people for PR and marketing and all that, just kuraharu does come into play. You cannot hire a PR agent who cannot attend networking events, so that definitely does come to play. But in general, I do prefer women in management positions.
Thank you for doing that, sir. Sir, you studied from Cameron University, USA. You could have stayed there, but what brought you back to Nepal?
That was one of the most difficult question that I had to answer, one of the most difficult decision that I had to make, US me and my cousin, my example, and so my cousin stayed back, I came back. My cousin stayed back in the US, so I had to come back to Nepal, and it was my choice. My graduation, my entire family was there, and my cousin's family was there. Everyone said, you should stay in the US because Nepal, the political scenario and whatever is not right. And in US, it's taken as a market for opportunities, but this is something I totally find it wrong. US and market or even developed countries or UK or just Australia, just the market, it's very developed. There are very few things that you can do on your own. The Nepal, truth be told, there's nothing. There are a lot of problems. And what I believe in is wherever there are problems, there are opportunities. So for me to come back home, that was a very wise decision. A political scenario यताउता कुन चाहिँ देशमा हुँदैन, सबै देशको त्यस्तै हो, डिस्टर्बेन्सहरू सबै देशमा हुन्छ. इनफ्याक्ट हामी त वी शुड बी भेरी फर्चुनेट कि हामी इराक, इजिप्ट, काइरोहरू जस्तो छैन. सो यहाँ चाहिँ यति धेरै अप्सन हुँदा वाइ वुड आई स्टे ब्याक. अनि आई स्ट्रङली बिलिभ इन अपर्च्युनिटी कस्ट. टाइम भनेको एकदमै भ्यालुएबल हो. You cannot afford to waste or even spend a few years in a foreign land and think of coming back and trying to do something, because socha ta aba ma 2011 ko end tira hai, by 2015-16 we've got so many businesses and now harik industry ma we've kind of taken a lead, so aile aba koi manche mere batchmate or mere even cousins haru Nepal फिर्ता आएर के गर्छु भने नि हामी जस्तो मान्छेहरूले धेरै नै गरिसक्यो अनि we won't leave room for them पनि, so I strongly believe कि now is the time for people to come back and take that and seize this opportunity, because Nepal is a growing market and like any other emerging market, it's a gold mine for entrepreneurs like me or wannabe entrepreneurs.
What gave you the idea of starting this company?
Sasto, like I said, there's a huge gap in the market, and it was very obvious that even US ka banana, US ma basदाखेरि is very much used to online shopping. Book किन्नु पर्यो भने online नै हुन्थ्यो, ढोकामा आइपुग्थ्यो. Even बेच्नु पर्यो भने half.com हुन्थ्यो, त्यहाँ बेचिदिन्थ्यो हैन. लुगाहरू किन्नु पर्यो भने American Eagle गयो, size select गर्यो, ढोकामा आइपुग्थ्यो हैन. I was very used to that. Nepal आएपछि all of a sudden I found out अहिले पनि नेपालमा like त्यही 100 वर्ष पुरानो जुन कल्चर छ, जुन चाहिँ बजारमा गएर आफै किन्ने त्यही नै रहेछ. So I saw this as a huge opportunity to introduce your e-commerce culture. Not that we were the first e-commerce company, but your culture introduced, and you have a big role to play, and we had a big role to play, and I think we're doing that very right, Ali.
And how was your experience when you thought of starting your ventures?
एउटा स्टोरी छ हैन, अब स्टार्ट गर्ने त गर्ने भन्यो हैन, बट म ई-कमर्स ब्याकग्राउन्डको स्टुडेन्ट हैन, आई एम अ मार्केटिङ स्टुडेन्ट एन्ड कन्ज्युमर साइकोलोजी स्टुडेन्ट हैन. सो टु क्रिएट अ वेबसाइट यु निड द्याट प्रोग्रामिङ स्किल है. सो व्हेन आई इन्क्वायर अबाउट हुन्छ नि कति लिन्छ मैले खोजेको जस्तो वेबसाइट भन्दाखेरि 2 लाख 3 लाख प्राइस कोट गर्थ्यो, where in fact हुन्छ मेरो ब्याङ्कमा हार्डली 1 लाख रुपियाँ थियो कि हैन. So I didn't give up hope, but rather I spent another few months trying to sourcing for a programmer. So balla talla betayo lai convince them to join my startup and work for free. So initially एउटा सानो गराज थियो, 2000 रुपियाँ हामी रेन्ट थियो, अनि एउटा भाँचेको कुर्सी एउटा एनजिओ को त्यो ग्राउन्डमा फालिरहेको थियो कुर्सी र टेबलहरू, त्यो चोरेर लिएर आएर हामीले we set up our office हैन. अनि त्यसरी हामी we started our business. So एकदमै रमाइलो, that's हुन्छ नि एकदमै fun memory for us.
Wow, that was a very inspiring story. So now where is your office?
So yeah, up to here we had a very humble beginning, so we started with a small garage. Now until almost 5 years down the line, we have a big office, and then almost 2,400 square feet office. And when we started, there are no employees. Obviously, we could not afford to pay for employees. So almost for a year, we all three of us are co-founders, and few others that joined later. We work for free, almost 14-16 hours a day, without earning a penny. So you can imagine the pressure at home, as if you're running $1 million company, but you have nothing. So So that was our beginning. So we worked very hard throughout the years, and बिस्तारै एकजना hire गरेर दुईजना hire गर्दा now we've got almost 40 full-time staff, and then we've got a huge office. And now when I look at so many desks and chairs and couch and even plants inside the office, it looks like a luxury. Okay? Time has passed so fast, and we've come so far, but I still believe we have a long way to go. But it's been a very sweet and wonderful and very memorable journey.
That's great. And how was your parents and friends' response?
In the beginning, there's two things. First, Nepal you have to convince the society, किनभने सोसाइटीमा बस्ने कल्चर छ हाम्रो, which is a good thing and a bad thing पनि. अब US मा हुन्छ नि, what I've noticed is people don't care whatever you do. हुन्छ नि, if you're a janitor or if you're a doctor, there's no difference. हुन्छ नि, people treat you the same. नेपालमा चाहिँ नि, when you live in a society, people are very curious. हुन्छ नि, where do you work, where you're dating, what are you eating, what are you driving. हुन्छ नि, एकदमै, I don't know why, neighbors, friends and family, they're very curious, हैन. So Nepalमा चाहिँ नि, that हुन्छ नि, in fact puts you under a lot of pressure, especially when you're a startup entrepreneur. So even for me, when I started out, I had to face all of these concerns from other people. Fortunately for me, I don't care about whatever people think. So no matter what they said, almost all of them said online business would never work, you're wasting your time and all kind of and then things. But I never listened to people. So, but obviously, first feeling towards me working for an online company or starting an online company was obviously foolish.
I did not get the answer of my question, sir. Let me repeat it. How was your mother's reaction?
Fortunately for me, my mom, she's a very well-known figure in the NGO sector, Amun Thapa. And for the past 20 years, I've been seeing her running around. She starts a day, she goes to office at 7 a.m. and comes home late. And she's gone through a lot of struggle in her own life. And whenever I look up to her, I see that I still find passion in her. And she's got that entrepreneurship vibe in her and that strength in her. So for me, looking at her, and then obviously for my mother, looking at me, we kind of have that mutual feeling about starting something new and facing that challenge and overcoming that challenge. It's in our blood. So obviously she was very supportive. Not that she understood the idea of starting an online company. Obviously I had to explain a lot to her, and at times I even gave up. But in other ways, for example, actually I had to make a decision. The garage chhane time our staffs outgrew the small garage that we rented. I was looking at another small office. त्यो भन्दा पनि अलिकति ठुलो तर त्यस्तो धेरै ठुलो हैन 2000 रुपैयाँ रेन्ट तिरेको थियो, सो 5000 6000 सम्मको खोजिरहेको थिएन. And that time my mom came to me and said, you have to take a risk. You cannot move this at this slow pace. Just jump to a bigger office, just hire staff. If you can't do it yourself, I'll support you. I'm here to support you. So you make that step. And त्यसपछि that is when our team took a leap. Okay? So had she not said that in that time, probably would have gone at a very slow pace, but because of her, we're taking it very aggressively, and that's been a very good moral support from our side.
So you mean your mother is very, very supportive?
Of course.
And then what were your brother's responses?
My brothers, सबैजना आफ्नै हुन्छ हैन, आफ्नै personality type आफ्नै हुन्छ. My one brother, he's a graduate from MIT, so my family चाहिँ नि हुन्छ नि एकदमै, they've all been very successful in their own respective fields, So my own brother, एकजना Mailu Dai, he's in the US, he's a graduate from MIT, that's an awesome thing to happen for anyone. And त्यसपछि he decided to stay back. It's been almost 10-12 years that he's been residing in the US. He's bought a house, he's got a family there. My other brother, he decided to come back. He was in the US too. He's starting his own trading business. And my eldest brother, who's back, he thinks people should be back home, people should do a lot of things in Nepal, whereas my other brother is in US. And actually my US when I was explaining to him a lot of things is happening in Nepal, and you know what he said to me? He said, I think you've stayed in Nepal for far too long, which he meant to say is there's world to explore. So these are two different perspectives. Now I have to examine, and obviously both of them are right in their own respective ways. So it's been, I've been very fortunate to have a mother like my mom and brothers like them, and all of them have so many wonderful things to say to me.
That's nice. Sir, you have both someone who supports and someone who says to think from a bigger level. That should have helped you, didn't it?
Obviously, Medha. Being the youngest child obviously has its own advantage. for me हुन्छ नि मेरो ब्रदर्सहरूको एज ग्रुपमा मेरो पनि were like 5 or 6 years apart होइन. So they've already been through what I am going through right now होइन. So I can obviously look up to them, ask them for advices, and they have their own experiences, and I can look at them on the fact that they're so different from each other हुन्छ नि. I can look at them both and decide what I want to do with my life. So it's obviously been very helpful.
Have you planned to continue your further studies, and do you think that education degrees matter to become an entrepreneur?
Serious हुँदाखेरि हुन्छ नि, there's this motto होइन, which I really like, which says study for life, not for exams होइन. Which means हुन्छ नि, अब नेपालमा or anywhere else के छ भने studies भनेको डिग्रीको लागि गर्छ होइन. For me it's not about degree. So I've finished my bachelor's and I have no plans of हुन्छ नि further continuing my studies, but doesn't mean I don't study. I study and read all day हुन्छ नि. Whatever I'm doing, it's education नै हुन्छ नि. So education not necessarily has to come from books. It can come from experience पनि, it can come from work पनि, it can come from reading somebody's autobiography or biography पनि हुन्छ नि. So that is education for me rather than हुन्छ नि going to a university and getting a degree.
So about my second question, do you think that education degrees matter to become an entrepreneur?
To each their own, truth be told, but it's an opportunity cost. For many, if you want to become a manager or if you want to become good at strategy, obviously MBA is very important, and that's where you go to learn about different strategies. But if you're a risk taker and if you believe time is money, then I would strongly suggest you rather work on something on your own than going for an MBA or further studies. But if you can juggle between them both, that's the perfect way to work out. So to each their own, there's no perfect answer to something might work for you, something might not work for me. So for me, I can only answer for myself.
Can you share your experience? How did it go when you were highlighted as entrepreneurs who have made a difference around the world by the United Nations in the year 2013?
I was very surprised because clearly, honestly, I do not deserve such a recognition yet. Pachi gari, if they decide to give me that award, obviously I'll take that happily. But for now, the things I've done in life, it's far too small. It's far too young to even be created with such a huge award. But obviously, it did make me happy. It did give me a huge mileage in terms of being an entrepreneur and for my company. But again, I clearly do not deserve such an award.
Is there any interesting stories that you'd like to share with our listeners?
There's so many along your way. When you start your own businesses, there's so many funny stories, so many memorable stories, and smaller stories like for me, I personally believe in starting each and every department inside your own company. So I used to work in our logistic department, and whenever I used to go deliver the product, people did not recognize me as a CEO. And so actually what happened is Nepal ko jastै एउटा सानो challenge. This guy asked me to come to Patan, and I said okay. अनि पाटनमा पुगेपछि नेपालमा त पर्टिकुलर स्ट्रिट एड्रेसेसहरू थिएन, आज पनि छैन हैन. अनि त्यहाँ आएपछि ल भित्र आउनु, त्यहाँ सिंहको स्ट्याचु देख्नुहुन्छ, म त्यही उभिन्छु भने. ओके हैन, म भित्र गएँ, त्यहाँ सिंहको स्ट्याचु त कति त्यहाँ 50वटा सिंह स्ट्याचु होला हैन. So things like that हुन्छ नेपालमा सानसानो कुराहरू पनि हुन्छ नि. It's so funny but it's so challenging के. So धेरै स्टोरीज छ त्यस्तो, तर शेयर गर्न मिल्नेहरू चाहिँ नि यति नै होला अहिले.
What motivates you in your everyday life?
Challenge. I find challenge very motivating. Every day when I wake up, I wake up with a challenge. And my strategy is whenever I wake up, I write 3 things that I have to do today. Because it's very important for an entrepreneur to stay focused. There's so many things, and I come up with so many opportunities. I have 100 other ideas, and so many people come approach me with ideas. For me or any other entrepreneur, it's very important to stay focused. So challenges that I find very motivating, and focus that drives me towards overcoming those challenges.
And how would you define success?
Success bhaneko, I don't think anybody in this world is successful. I'll give you a story about Neil Armstrong. Imagine we're all Neil Armstrong. Our entire lives, we dream of becoming an astronaut. We dream of stepping on the moon. That's the biggest dream anyone can have. Now, उसले त्यो गरेर आयो Now, would he consider himself as successful because he's got his entire life ahead? So त्यो भन्दा beyond के गर्न सक्छ हैन? So I think successful भनेको everybody has their own definition. For me, successful is just leading a happy life. हुन्छ नि keeping everyone around you happy. हुन्छ नि but success लाई monetary terms सँग attach गरे हुन्छ नि billionaire, is that a successful? Would a billionaire be called successful? Would a trillionaire someday would be called successful? Even companies like Facebook and Apple are still not satisfied. They're still hungry. Even billionaires are still hungry, you know. So success भनेको कसलाई पनि हुँदैन. Nobody can be called successful. All that about how people define their own success. For me, it's about just being happy.
We're almost at the end of our show today. Is there any advice or suggestion that you'd like to give to the young generation who aspire to become like you?
Yes, Nepal especially, I see a lot of people complaining, especially among the youth, which is a very shameful thing. Let complaint be just a minority of the overall solution. Let us all think in terms of coming up with solution. And that is when a country, nation develops. Nepal, it's almost become like a culture that people complain. Be it politics, be it business, be it sports, anything that is worthy of talking, people talk in terms of complaint. As an entrepreneur or as a change maker, as someone who wants to make a change in the society, we have to think in terms of solution. So that is something I really wish people in my generation or in the next generation should train themselves with. Think in terms of solution.
Thank you, sir. We had a really enlightening conversation today, and I'm sure our listeners must have been inspired after listening to your stories and might want to be in contact with you. So is there any contact information that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah, we live in a digital world. You can always add me on Facebook. Not that I would promptly reply messages, but you can always approach me. And obviously there's LinkedIn, and my email is amun.thapa@gmail.com, so you can always email me.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you with us today on Youth in Entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Medha. I had a wonderful time too, and wish you guys all the very best. I believe this is the first season. There's a lot more to come, and I'm very excited to hear about other people speaking in this program.
Thank you, sir. If you have any queries or suggestions regarding the show, or if you are a young entrepreneur yourself who would like to be interviewed on this show, you can write to us. You can message us on our Facebook page, Youth in Entrepreneurship, or email us at youthinentrepreneurship@gmail.com. YOUTH Youth, INENTREPRENEURSHIP Entrepreneurship, youthinentrepreneurship@gmail.com. You can also call us on our number 4670-820. 4670-820. You can also like our Facebook page and join our group Radio REEYAZ 96.8 MHz. You can also hear our shows on YouTube. Log on to youtube.com/Youth in Entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for listening to Youth in Entrepreneurship. This program is presented by Radio REEYAZ in collaboration with UTSAH Nepal. I'd also like to thank our concept director, Abhilasha Rayamajhi. We will be back again next week with yet another amazing guest. Till then, take care and have a wonderful week. Namaste.